Thanks for joining us. This is our extended interview with Robert Weiss, Chief Video Content Marketer at Multivision Digital. The first part of this video is from our GNGF Live, which happens over on our Facebook page. The second part, here in this bonus extended interview, Robert and I dive into specific strategies that you can use for your law firm's video content. If you already saw the live, I'll put the timestamp to the exclusive extended interview below. Be sure to like this video and of course subscribe to our channel so you can follow along with all of our great conversations on legal marketing and the business side of running a law firm. Welcome to GNGF Live, your Ask the Experts interview series about all things law firm marketing and business growth. I'm Mark Homer, author of Online Law Practice Strategies and founder of Get Noticed, Get Found. On this show, we focus on the business side of growing and running your law firm. So I'm excited to have today's guest, Robert Weiss, Chief Video Content Marketer at Multivision Digital. Robert's company, Multivision Digital, has produced hundreds of videos since their founding over a decade ago. They've worked with everything from solo entrepreneurs to global Fortune 500 companies across almost every industry, including the legal profession. And they have created video marketing pieces for just about every business objective out there. Also, as always, be sure to like and subscribe to our page, not just the video, so you get updated when the next episode goes live. Of course, it never hurts for you to show just a little love and hit that like button on the video too. It really does help us a lot. We've got moderators in the chat today, so please ask questions and interact during the premiere. And if you're watching this in the future, after the premiere, we do monitor the comments and we'll reach out to our guests and answer any follow-up questions you have. That's because we love you all and we love getting to meet you online, and I'm excited to say we'll be in person again soon. So you can find a list of all of our upcoming webinars, CLEs, and any event actually where someone from the GNGF team is going to be speaking over on our website at gnGF.com/events. We have an extensive library of videos, including extended interviews, as well as our in-depth GNGF tip series, and so much more over on our YouTube channel. So you can watch those videos, well, after this interview, of course, at the link in the chat. All right, let's get to the interview. Robert Weiss, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Mark. Great to be here.
So for the benefit of the audience, right, tell me a little bit about your background and, kind of how Multivision Digital came to be.
Got started. I'm not sure how this is going to come out, but I saw the writing on the wall with video. And, since I mentioned the word video, most people think that, oh yeah, you went to film school or you've got a background in video, you did all that. Not at all. I'm a sales and marketing guy. Started my career that way, and then when the internet came into being, I worked at a small web development shop back in the day. Then did software as a service, SaaS platform, a CRM platform before it was SaaS. Went to an email marketing company and basically saw the adoption of websites, databases, email marketing, because it was spam back then. It wasn't email marketing. Social media, SEO, and I saw the adoption of all those things, right? And in today's world, nobody will dispute the fact that you need a website or that you need to do email marketing to keep in touch with people or be on social media or all those other digital things. Way back when, people were disputing that. And those things were not accepted and adopted. So I saw that video was on that trajectory. And also saw and felt the power and the impact of what video can do, which we'll talk a little bit about. So without any experience in video whatsoever, decided to start Multivision Digital. And here we are 11 years later. We've done over probably close to 1,200 videos all in, and have great clients. And we're just building, because video is still at a very low threshold of adoption. So anybody listening to this podcast, if you're just getting started, you're still in a great place because your competitors are probably not thinking about video.
Love that. Yeah, and I totally agree. Well, it's interesting, actually. We've had a very similar trajectory there in terms of, I think I was in IBM in 95 when companies were just saying, oh, what's a website? We need a website, and so I'm building some of the first websites with HTML for dummy books, right? That's how new it was back then. But the conversation about, you don't, it's just accepted that you need website or email marketing, things like that. Like, we're 11 years old as well, and I remember some of the first presentations had things like, why websites are better than the yellow pages, right? That's not a conversation we have at all anymore. But like, that was like a big part of my presentation, trying to get people to understand the
Yeah.
differences. So that's how far we've come. But yet, the fact that I've talked about video 11 years ago and nobody, was just eyes glazed over, and now, these conversations, it's
Yeah,
great.
and it's still building. So I have seen a softening in the market as it relates to video, or the types of conversations we've had. But again, it's still, we're in the early adoption phase of video still.
So, why, from a consumer perspective, like, why do you think the behavior is shifting to video, or even from a business perspective, people becoming more acceptable of like, oh, I'm going to put myself out there in video.
Let's talk about the business side, because I think most people listening to this podcast are in the business side of things. But our consumer behavior has always driven our business behavior. And
Right.
let's take what you
Right.
just mentioned, e-commerce, right? Nobody would have even bought plane tickets and hotels online, or the things that they do on Amazon every day. Like, are you kidding me? But now, again, accepted. Nobody's disputing that. And therefore, our business behavior, we're going to go on and buy our things, whether we need it for, the office of our business, or we need it for the, running of our supply chain, right? Everything's done online, or most things are done online. Again, so our consumer behavior has always driven our business behavior, and we've been watching video forever as consumers. I mean, a movie is only a 2.5 hour video, right? It's called a movie, but it's really a video. Right?
Right.
So we're watching that more for training purposes. We're on, I hate to mention TikTok and Instagram in these types of conversations, because it's very heavily consumer driven. But again, it's that type of kind of behavior that's driving our, okay, it's okay to watch video from a business standpoint and learn about an organization and get to know Mark, or I can see him in a nice suit, with a nice, I don't know what that thing is on the blue flower, right? He looks like a nice guy. He presents himself well. I am going to call him, right? And that's where video
Right.
really starts to play a role in business.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. We've had data. I mean, we did this years ago now. I mean, it's probably 5, 6 years old, but data that, we were looking and again, trying to convince people like, hey, this stuff works. We had, law firm websites that we were managing, and said, okay, conversion rates of law firm websites that had a picture of the attorney versus like the typical gavel columns books,
Yeah,
right?
stock stuff.
That you would see on all these homepages. The conversion was way better if you had a photo of the attorney. Well, then the next thing we were able to do, because we finally got some, law firms that were putting video on there, is to able to say, oh, those law firms that had video on their homepage converted even better than the photos, right? So there was this progression. So I think, the consumers are obviously resonating with it.
Yeah. 100%. Couldn't disagree with you more, but I think the question is why, right? And I mean, every industry from a B2B standpoint is a personal driven. At some point you need people there. Right?
Yeah.
And especially with law firms, I'm going to choose a lawyer or a law firm because I feel good about that person. Therefore, if I can see that person in a picture, I can kind of connect with them a little bit more. So I'm more inclined to pick up the phone call and start that engagement. It doesn't mean I'm going to sign with them, but at least, again, using the internet and some of those decision-making criteria that me as a buyer determines, right? I see a picture. I'm going to call that person. But then when you enter video or
Right.
multiple videos, that only just takes those metrics off the charts, because I'm not just seeing them. I'm seeing them. I'm feeling them. I'm hearing them. I'm seeing their intonation. I'm seeing how they might mess up, but still be a professional on camera, because I'm getting the information. And think about reading versus watching a video. I mean, that's why people watch video. They get the most amount of information in the shortest amount of time from video. So if you do have
Right.
video, they're going to learn more, and thus that's the reason why conversion rates with video are much higher than with any other medium because it's easier for that person to get the information. And with law firms, it's not just about one video. It's about multiple videos, right? So,
Right.
I'm going to pick on you. If I were to watch a video, of you giving me some type of information in the clothes that you're wearing today, that's a minute and a half, 2 minutes, but continue with another video that you're wearing different clothes, your hair might be different, maybe you're a little scruffy, and I watch that, I'm getting to know you. And that is the power of video for law firms, but also in any type of B2B buying process.
Yeah, and I think especially in the professions, right? When people hire people, right? You're not hiring. Most people don't hire a law firm; they hire the lawyer, and so it's completely agree on that. And the idea of having the video, we always talk about like leading with empathy and getting that out there, and so that's just a great way to let people know, hey, this is who I am. I care. Yeah, I know my stuff, but I care, right? So. For a law firm, and the other thing, we get people who are nervous all the time, right? So, and I, you work with people all the time, and you're doing some stuff remote. But I try to explain, for a law firm, for a lawyer specifically, like they're doing live video all the time. There's just no video in the room. They're doing it in front of like a consultation, somebody coming in, and they're off the fly solving problems and talking to them and helping them understand why they're the right fit.
So I'm going to give you a fist bump there. That was awesome. You're absolutely right. Right. So what our job is as a video production service is to help that partner be that person on camera. And then there's a secret sauce there. I'm not going to get into it because that may or may not be part of this discussion. But that's the ultimate goal of what you said, is creating video content. Not just one video, but have a plan to do multiple videos. So that partner is really who they are in front of the camera. So when people go to their website, whether they get a referral from another person or they find them online via internet or see them at a conference, they're still going to go to the website, that they have that kind of experience like with that partner, and they can get to know that partner. And one of the other objections I've gotten is, well, what if they don't like me? What if they go away? I'm like, that's good. Right?
That would have been a horrible client.
They're not going to like you in person either. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the interesting thing is, video again, 5 years ago, even more, we were a law firm trying to convince them to do video. We weren't doing the video, but like we had, partners and stuff, those like you. Back in the day, like sending a crew and getting people there and taking a whole day of the lawyer's time and figuring all this out, it's time consuming, expensive process. You guys come up with different strategies. Now there's a time for probably, full service in the office production kind of stuff, but you guys come up with different options that take that kind of like $25,000 price tag that I've seen charged in the past, and have brought it down a little bit. Talk a little bit about that, because that's what's fascinating to me, is like you guys have kind of figured out some other ways to approach the video market.
Yeah, cool. I'm just going to share my screen here for a moment. But
awesome.
So there's the DIY, which we eventually would love all of our law firm clients to do, but just not yet, especially if you've not done video before. We want you to learn and get comfortable and understand what the process looks like, and have a cadence for doing DIY as well as the professional stuff, which is what we talked about, right? Having a professional crew come in, set up, be there for a day, half a day, nice B-roll shots. And then the middle ground is the remote video. And this is really, really effective for a lot of the content creation that law firms need. This is not for a firm about us video, or for diversity inclusion or sustainability, or those kind of like really practice area marketing videos. The remote is great for thought leadership types of content, where majority of the message is driven by a talking head partner. And the professional services of a crew like ours is still maintained with remote video capture, but we're just utilizing smartphones in order to execute the shoot itself. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to stop that. And we're getting up to 4K content, which we upload to the cloud. Then we go and edit that content in individual files because we're doing take 1, take 2, take 3, just like we would in person. And again, I go back to the professional services. We're doing all of the pre-production in terms of the messaging. We're doing the setting up of their cameras because we're doing remotely. Some people are still at home. Some people are in their office. So we're setting all that up so the framing is good. They look good. The lighting is good. And the only thing that we use is a lavalier and a selfie stick tripod and their phone. And we've been seeing great results because it's quite cost effective.
Yeah, I love it, and the fact that you mentioned a couple of the pieces too, and I know I've seen you talk about you have a slide that talks about here's all the things that make up video, right? Because it's not just shooting the video. You mentioned pre-production, right? So that's an area where we often work with a company like yours where we're saying okay, from a SEO perspective and keywords, we're trying to focus on some of these areas. We'd love some content around this. And then like you're able to work with the firm and kind of say, okay, here's some of the ideas around that content, and that gives us then all this great content for marketing purposes. So that pre-production is as important as showing up for the video, right? So I love that there's it's not, you don't just explain that it's just here's a video and you're done. Mm-hmm. That's eventually when people are doing some DIY stuff, but like the work that you're doing is really thinking about the beginning and then all the post-production and then what you do with it.
Yeah, and also when, from our standpoint, I don't know how other, production companies work, but for Multivision, we want to work with a firm like yours because at the outset of the project, we want to know that the deliverables are for SEO and here are the keywords, or for a product launch or a service area launch because you're going to have a few partners at, I'm just going to use cannabis because that's like the wild west for most firms, right? At a cannabis event, and they're going to have a table there. So therefore, they're going to put some money into that industry. Mm-hmm. So those deliverables might be different, and we might go about that project very differently depending on what you're going to do with those videos. And listen, video is nothing more than content. That's it. Yep. Video is content. So when you create a brochure, that's content. Video is content. What will you do with that content after is a big question to ask and come up with an answer before you make a decision on the type of content or the type of deliverables more so that you will create that happen to be video.
Yeah, and we've talked about that on this show many times with others where it's at the end of the day, a lot of these things you have to start with what the goal is. You start with the end in mind. What are you going to do with this? What's the purpose of this? How are you measuring it? And the nice thing with video is when you measure it, it works well. But but you have to have the goal of why, which is going to adjust how you're doing. Like you were saying, like maybe something is I want this really nice formal about us video for here, and that needs to be a well-produced thing. Like these cornerstone video content still may be smart to have a crew come out and do those things. But there's these pieces of content. Well, let's save some money there, but also keep the quality the same level and use these other that kind of middle ground for you, the remote video capture, which I love this remote video capture. And probably during COVID, I imagine that was a great tool to have in your belt.
Yeah, the answer is yes, and it is a solution for firms that have multiple practice areas, multiple offices, because typically they're marketing persons in one office and they're supporting different practice areas and partners all around, right? Or there's a firm that has 10 or 15 practice areas and a few of them are underserved because they're not the big money makers, right? So what remote video capture allows them to do is, again, cost effectively create this and do it like every month. Right?
Yeah, or if you're the small solo type firm, you don't even have a marketing person in house. You don't have that, but you're trying to compete with the big guys. You can have the same quality video from a remote capture for some lower cost.
To do it a couple times a year. Yep.
So how do we take the video? Because this is the other piece I've seen you talk about. You take your video and then you say here's how to maximize your ROI from all this investment, right? This is an investment, right? People are going to spend some money up front. They're producing pre-production. the production, like remote or on site, and then all the post production work that's happening, and then things we do with the content. How are people getting the most ROI out of this investment?
So I'm going to switch to a slide here, but one of the ways to do that is plan for the multiple ways that you can do it, right? I get people all the time like, oh, we're going to do this video and just take snippets and put it here and there. Like, no. You can do that, but you need to make sure that you plan for those right snippets, right? In the messaging, in the post-production, like you need to be thoughtful with video, right? So as you mentioned, the pre-production side of video, we've got a video here somewhere in our archives that says the most overlooked part of video production is in the pre-planning stages. It's actually the most important. And if we don't have that locked down from a messaging standpoint and from at least seeing a plan for the day, we're not going to go shoot, right? Because it's not good for the client. But one of the ways to leverage video is with a video first marketing strategy. And basically that means, start with the video and then derive all that ancillary content that you need. Again, asterisk is it's already planned for, but you're going to take that video and you're going to transcribe it and create contextual content with it. And then take some of those keywords so Google can find that page, right? Absolutely. And then when people go to that page, we want that video to be high up on the page, not down on the bottom. People will stay longer, dwell longer. Google likes the fact that they came from Google to your site and stayed on your page for a lot longer. And then take that video, put it into emails. Maybe it's a client alert. Follow-up conversations you might have with a first-time client. Send them either links to that page, or maybe there's 3 or 4 videos around that topic that you want to send them. And then, of course, social media. So these are some of the ways to kind of really leverage, video with a video-first marketing strategy.
Yeah, and I mean, to be completely transparent, right? Like, we do these videos, we put them up in certain places, but they also end up on our website. There's transcriptions. There's, thoughtful things about the type of guests we're trying to get on that match the keywords we're trying to talk about. Like, we're trying to tell people to use video. So we reach out to a video expert and say, hey, can you come on and talk about these awesome, especially with the remote ability with your firm, like these are things like this. We're a marketing agency, so hopefully, you would assume that, we're doing things that way for a reason. It works.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, I have one more question that probably will take us down a bunch of rabbit holes around some of the specific strategies you guys have used for law firms for their video content, kind of maybe taking some of those video first stuff a little further. Maybe we peel the onion back a layer. But we're out of time on our Facebook. Do you mind sticking around? We can post, over to our YouTube page later, kind of like, some more discussion.
Yeah, sure. That's what we're here for. And hopefully people listening to this will now jump over and see the complete version or follow-up versions.
Awesome. Before we do that, though, Robert, where can people find and connect with you all online?
Multivision Digital. I mean, that's a great place to go. It's our website. Since we've got cool sharing capabilities here, this is us, multivisiondigital.com. There's the services area that has all about, the remote video production here, portfolio areas, everything people need to know about kind of getting started with video and examples thereof.
All right, and people can see the links in the chat, and we will make sure we update the YouTube show notes with that. Check them out. I'm telling you, if you're a small, medium law firm out there and you're really trying to compete with what looks like unlimited production budgets, this is a good way to do your planning correctly, but then maybe take advantage of some of that remote video as well that Robert's team has built out so well. So highly recommend you check them out. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe to our Facebook page so you get notified when our next episode goes live. We have new interviews about law firm marketing and the business side of running your firm here just a few times a month. We're going to keep going in the GNGF studios, and you can watch the full extended interview with Robert Weiss this Friday over on our YouTube channel. We'll be diving into more detail about the specific strategies that you can use for your law firm's video content. We'll see you then. Robert, thanks for sticking with me.
Of course. Great conversation.
So I wanted to dive in. This is where I ran out of time on because this is, kind of getting into the good stuff here. So those of you who came over and stuck around, you're getting the goods now. So we talked about the pre-production and all this kind of stuff, but like in the thinking video first, and you had a whole bunch of slices off of there. So what are some of the strategies that you're seeing or you're using with law firms and other clients you work with to just maximize that video content?
I think it starts with, again, the planning and the pre-production, right? And I'm going to, again, pull this slide up here.
Awesome. I love that you have like the visuals too. This is great.
And this may start off not where everybody is thinking, which is more of the distribution side of things. But it really does start with the planning, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to distribute video content, it needs to align with a business strategy. So kind of where is your business strategy, right? So you've got a practice area. Again, we talked about cannabis in the last first part of the session because a lot of firms are going into cannabis now, and they're spending money going to conferences, mm-hmm. creating content, writing papers. Well, maybe you want to do a practice area overview video for cannabis, or maybe it's real estate, right. Because that aligns with your business objectives, and then you can initiate that video first strategy. However, let's take a couple steps ahead as you develop a cadence for video. Like, you're creating a lot of different content. Some of those videos will be short-lived. Some of them will be for points of distribution, like publications, for example. We have a client that we create thought leadership content for their bankruptcy practice. That's more like talking head. But then we create editorial content for bankruptcy that they give to a bankruptcy publication that they distribute. Smart. So it's still for that practice area, but the distribution is different, and it's driven by their business objectives. So again, this is just maybe what a typical law firm might look like in terms of creating all that different content that feeds into the video first strategy. So I'm not sure if that
and as you
completely answers the question, but that's kind of where I would get.
Yeah, and as you keep working on these video, like that strategy, right? You do, like you said, don't start with the big practice area video. I think we talked about that, right? Start with these, kind of maybe smaller targeted videos that match the business goal that you're trying to achieve. But I like even on that slide, you had something like recruitment. Like that could be a business goal. Like, hey, we need to recruit and stuff. Having videos. I mean, I remember at one point in GNGF we said, hey, the Instagram channels seem to be not where our audience was at the time. I think they are now. but we're like, hey, let's use Instagram to just kind of show how much fun GNGF is to work at, right? Like what it's like working here and how great it is. Mm-hmm. And that was solely because as younger people are coming out either out of college or maybe they're transition from that first to second, looking for a second job. We wanted to be right there, and we went like they were on Instagram. But it was a purposeful business decision of we wanted to recruit and have good people without having to pay a recruiter crazy fees. And we wanted to show our personality to make sure the right people are attracted to us as well. Because just like you get the bad client, you don't want the bad client, but the video turns off the bad client we talked about in the last portion. Yep. A recruiting video could, help
recruit,
not get the right person to apply, help get the wrong person not to apply, mm-hmm. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So
I love that.
If I can also pop to this slide here, because you've referenced the conversation about investing in like a firm overview video and then other types of videos. Right. And that was kind of offline in between sessions. So I want to catch people up here because it's really, really important for them to understand that when you go into a video investment, you can kind of use that differently. So going off of that slide that we had before, where we're doing a practice area video, we're doing thought leadership video, we're doing the recruiting videos, we're doing social videos, right? They're all video, but we as a video production company are going to approach that project very differently. And in this particular slide here, the bars, if you will, the high level production, case studies, and FAQs, those represent the same budget investment. Okay, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 50, whatever that is to whomever's listening here, it's the same investment. But because of the type of video, we are able to do what we do as a professional video company and kind of move the levers up and down. So you get more videos for the FAQ videos because they're predominantly talking head. There's not a lot of moving parts. We don't need B-roll per se. We might need just images and slides to put in. But with a high-level production, we need more tools. We need more resources. We need more investment to put into that video because it just needs, it fits a different purpose.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at that high level, you need a video producer's and a video, you know, like a videographer's eye there on site, kind of see things that, you know, maybe the lawyer or the marketing person on site isn't going to see. But the FAQ videos, you can do that. The one thing you had on that slide that I didn't even think about and we didn't talk about was like case studies or testimonials, which I really like. Because like to me, testimonials could probably like that. It could leverage that remote as well. Because now I'm not saying, hey, I need to bring a crew to your office to do a testimonial and be like, hey, grab your iPhone. I'm going to send you something. You're going to connect with my, you know, production company. They're going to do a remote thing. It's only going to take about 30 minutes of your time or whatever. You know, and you're getting now video testimonials, not just the little 5 stars on Google.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And if I can get it just
I mean, we didn't talk about this before, but I love that. And so yeah, if we can jump down that.
This is our remote video production page. If I can just steal the screen here for a moment, I'm going to pull this up on YouTube, and you can see that this particular video. I'm actually going to just turn the volume down because it's really not important that you hear it, but see it. I don't know if you can see the quality of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is off the charts. And this was done remotely. The opening slide, you know, we produced this in New York, and this particular talent was in Paraguay.
Wow.
And we did this remotely.
When you say remote, that's remote.
Yeah, 100% remote. Now, again, we did the pre-production when we first, saw her. She had some stuff on the table there that we helped her clean up, and we kind of walked around her home to make sure that we had, the right space with the right light, but nothing more than a selfie stick, tripod, and a lavalier. That's like amazing case study, for us, and that's a testimonial case study. So, to your point, that this can be done super cost effectively, and I think there's some stat out there that shows the impact of case studies and testimonials. Converting clients, that's off the charts.
Yeah, the social proof. I mean, just having the stars on a website versus and some testimonials from Google or like that's so critical and so important. But having the video, somebody actually talking about their why they were happy with working with this firm or with this lawyer, the communication, all the things you can kind of feed them in a produced video versus just asking them to record it themselves and send it in. Man, I can just imagine how much better that's going to be. So, I'm gonna definitely tell our team to when they're thinking case studies or testimonials, really a lot of times for our clients, what a great solution.
Mm-hmm. And then video first strategy. What do you do with that? You take that video, transcribe it, keyword optimize it, put the video on the top of that page, right? So it can be found via search engines. Send it out via email. Put a couple links to it on social via images to link back to that page.
Oh yeah.
Write a press release about it. Like there's so many things that you could do again with that video first strategy.
Yeah, love it. Well, thank you for sharing the strategies. And I know we dove into one there. I mean, I think that we just blew everybody's mind on thinking about making their testimonials, taking their Google review process strategy, and taking it a massive step forward with video testimonials. So, again, thanks for joining me today, and we'll obviously be talking more and more in the future. So, with our team. But Robert, thanks again, and everybody check out Multivision Digital online, and their website's got all the different resources that Robert was sharing a little bit here, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, what's up? I'm Josh. Thanks so much for joining us. If you feel like you learned something today, think of how beneficial it would be to chat with myself or another one of our marketing consultants one-on-one. Go ahead and visit our website to schedule your free consultation. It only takes a minute.